Our next author, Heidi Skarie, writes science fiction novels that are an intoxicating mixture of action, adventure, and romance, featuring strong, inquisitive heroines. Heidi previously published Red Willow's Quest, a historical novel about a Native American girl training to become a medicine woman. Star Rider on the Razor's Edge is her first science fiction novel. Please welcome science fiction author Heidi Skarie.
Imagine there's a pencil right from your microphone to your mouth. Just straight to the pencil.
Okay,
Exactly.
is that good?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Heidi Skarie, and I'm going to be reading a selection from my book, Star Rider on the Razor's Edge. It's the first in a series of books. The main character of the book, Tamika Ganti, is an undercover operative who's been sent to another country, and she's going to help the resistance overthrow the military government. The country's been occupied for quite a few years. In this scene, she's actually been arrested and has been taken in to be interrogated. And she's with this Commander Rochambeau. Tamika and Commander Rochambeau stepped onto the platform at the top of the hill overlooking the city. Tamika shivered in her thin segorti as she desperately looked around. 60 feet away, guards flanked the walled Talon military complex front gates. To the left was an airfield. Suddenly, a man leaped out from behind a thick bush and aimed an energy gun at Commander Rochambeau. The commander reached for his blaster and Tomiko gave him a shove, then wrenched free. The energy gun flashed. Rochambeau clutched his chest and collapsed. Tomika fled towards the airfield, afraid she'd be shot next. Footsteps pounded on the pavement behind her, and she forced a burst of speed. The attacker caught up and raced along beside her. The Talon guard yelled, "Stop, or we'll shoot." They kept running. As energy beams tore up the tarmac around them. "Keep low," the man said. He pulled Tamika behind the spacecraft and fired at the guards and the soldiers who chased them. Tamika's head spun from the remains of the drugs still in her system. "Who are you?" she asked. "Michio. I'm a friend of the Kimets." He pointed to the Viper aircraft. "That's my ship. Let's go." Together they dashed across the airfield towards the two-man ship. He pushed a keyless remote and the Viper's engines roared to life and its canopy opened. Tamika stopped. "Why are you helping me?" "There's no time to explain. Run." As the energy beam shot by her head, she raced for the Viper. "Get in," Michio yelled. She glanced wildly around, trying to catch her breath, wondering if she could escape on her own. Guards and soldiers raced across the airfield towards them as Michio fired from behind the ship. "Get in," he said again. Deciding that Michio proved less of a threat to the soldiers, she scrambled into the cockpit. Michio jumped in on the other side and the canopy closed over them. An energy beam hit the side of the ship and flames shot up. "The right engine's on fire," Tamika screamed. "Put out the fire." To her surprise, the ship's computer answered. Order acknowledged. Foam shot out, covering the engine, extinguishing the fire. "Get ready for takeoff," Michio said. His hands flew across the control panel. A helmet automatically dropped down from the canopy and onto her head, and Tamika fastened it on and clicked her seatbelt into place. Moments later, the ship shot into the air, pressing Tamika into the seat. Soon, yellow lights in the darkness showed beneath them. "We're being followed," Tamika exclaimed as the yellow lights took the form of 5 Talon fighters. I'm going to skip ahead now to a little bit later scene. In this scene, Michio has just taken Tamika to see the leader of the resistance that she needs to work with, and the resistance leader proved to be a very difficult person. So as they're walking back to the ship, they're in the woods on the mountain, and Tamika leaves Michio's side and goes to the river, and just to kind of restore herself. She's sitting in contemplation, and she imagines negative emotions flowing away into the dancing mountain river. But then something touched her leg. Her eyes snapped open, and she saw a vine curling itself around her ankle. It twisted up her thigh. Amazed that a vine could move, she touched one of the blue iridescent leaves. What an unusual plant you are. Another stem twisted around her arm. She tugged at the vine, trying to pull it off. It tightened its grip. She heard Michio calling her name. "I'm over here, by the river," she yelled. She tugged harder at the vine on her arm, and it climbed up onto her shoulder, wound its way around her neck, and tightened against her windpipe. Frantically, she grabbed the thick stem with both hands and screamed for help. She couldn't breathe as the vine tightened around her neck. Her lungs burned. Fear pumped through her, and black spots flashed before her eyes. The world spun. A branch cracked, then Michio appeared and began slashing at the base of the stalk with his knife. The plant let out a piercing scream and squirted stinging, putrid orange fluid on Tamika's arms. Lightheaded, she collapsed. Michio pulled the vine from her throat, and she gasped as fresh air filled her lungs. She distantly heard Michio ask if she was okay. She opened her eyes to find him crouched next to her, looking worried. A vine tentacle slithered around her waist. She grabbed the stem and tried to rip it away. "Get it off me!" she cried hoarsely. Michio started to help her when he fell forward into the ground. A vine had wrapped itself around his ankle and was dragging him towards waving reddish-orange stems. As Michio hacked himself free, the plant screamed and sprayed more juice. Scrambling back to Tamika, Michio slashed repeatedly at the vine that gripped her. Finally, it released her and climbed up to a tree and wound its way around its trunk. Michio squatted at the edge of the river and plunged his hands into it. "That's smart," he said. "Did the poison touch your skin?" "Yes, my arm," Tamika said, splashing water on it. Michio thrust her arm completely under the freezing water, drenching her sorgetti. "What kind of plant is that?" she asked nervously, keeping a wary eye on the vine. "It's called a shrieking vine." "Why was it trying to strangle me?" "Probably thought you'd make a succulent meal. You look pretty tasty to me." "Very funny." She scowled. "You should have given me a knife and told me about the carnivorous plants." "You shouldn't have wandered off," he replied. Thank you. And if you're interested in connecting with me, I do have a website, and I'm on Google Plus and Facebook and Twitter. And again, it's Heidi Skarie. Thank you so much.